guys, how's it going? I fancied making a quick video to let you know about the Falkirk Triangle, which is a spot in Scotland where basically there's more UFO sightings there than any other part of the world. It's completely insane. So I did a bit of research into it a little while ago for the BBC, and I spoke to a couple of different paranormal researchers. The one that we're going to see an interview of today is Ron Halliday, who is a paranormal researcher and author. He wrote the A to Z of the Scotland Paranormal and McX Scottish X-Files. Lovely guy, like super nice friendly guy. Now I've did an interview with him actually, but I still need to upload the video onto YouTube and edit it because of the long COVID being extremely grim. This last 6 months, I've kind of fallen a bit behind on my side hustles, hence why I'm live streaming instead of editing videos. And although I'm going to keep this up because it's way too much fun, it's so much easier. And yeah, so basically I have a couple of interviews with different paranormal investigators around basically the fact that Scotland is the UFO capital of the world. Now most people, when they think of UFOs, they would think of like America and Area 51 and stuff. But actually all the sightings is here in Scotland, which is probably why in the movie Prometheus they find the map to our creators in Scotland, which was quite interesting. But yeah, so we're going to take a look at a little interview that Ron did with GMTV, which was the morning programme back in the 90s on Grampian or Channel 3 even.
Well, video footage has come to light which could indicate that we are not alone. A bright shining object has been filmed hovering in the sky above Falkirk in Scotland. UFO experts say it's the best footage ever seen of a possible alien spaceship. This extraordinary event took place in an area now dubbed the Bonnybridge Triangle because of the high number of unusual sightings. And joining us now is Professor Ron Halliday, a UFO expert. You've seen all of this footage, Professor. How good do you rate it?
I'm not actually Professor, but I just say that right away.
Well, please accept the promotion.
But, you know, I'd be delighted to have that by all means. Well, yeah, I've seen the footage, and I would say it's the best bit of video footage that I've seen, because it's been taken during daylight, and you actually get a very good view of the particular object. So, I mean, it's certainly excellent video footage from the ufologist point of view.
Do you merely watch the tape over and over again, or do you freeze frame it and analyse it?
Well, I mean, we certainly watch the video tape through, you know, on a large number of occasions, but obviously we also want to analyse it because we find that through analysing it, you can actually get a better image of what's actually being filmed. So, yes, I mean, obviously we like to have a good close look at anything unusual like this.
All right, we'll come back to you in a moment, if we may, because we can now join our reporter, Martin Frizzell, who's at the scene. Martin, did you see anything unusual last night?
Well, last night I saw a few unusual things. This morning we've seen a few unusual things as well, because you should have come to us just a minute or two ago, Matt, but you couldn't because of technical problems, strange technical problems that just happened all of a sudden. We can't explain why, but our power has been flickering on and off here from our generator. Normally it doesn't do that. Here I am standing above Falkirk in the Bonnybridge area, as you set up the chimneys, just how big this thing was. It just hovered there for, some 20 minutes or so. And the man who took the pictures is Barry McDonald. Barry, come and join us here. Now, this was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yes, well, last Wednesday.
And until then, you've been fairly sceptical about things in the sky, mysterious objects, flying saucers.
Definitely, I've never ever believed anything like that before, until I actually seen that myself.
So what were you doing? Tell me, you and your girlfriend driving down the road?
We were driving down, me and my girlfriend Jane, we were driving down from Hall Glen down towards Falkirk, and we just looked up and seen this light in the sky, and I was sitting there for about 15 minutes, and I decided to go get the camera out. So once we started to tape it just seemed to change shape, then change colours, then shapes, and all of a sudden it just vanished out of the air. So I don't know where it went to.
And could you estimate how big this thing was?
I couldn't say. I wasn't a big massive thing. I couldn't hear nothing, no sound or nothing off it. I just don't know the size of it at all, to be honest.
Now, you're not the first person from around here who's seen something mysterious in the sky.
No, there's quite a few we've seen. It's about 300 or something over 1992. But I've never ever believed in anything like that. Until I've seen that myself.
You see, Barry, the question everybody is asking this morning is, if intelligent life form is out there,
Uh-huh.
very clever, why do they pick Falkirk?
Well, I don't know. It's again, I guess it's maybe something to do with Grangebury or the heat coming out of there. But there's just there's not many questions that could be asked. I just love to be honest with you.
Okay, but it's not a hoax. We're not going to find ourselves on something in a few years' time and you're going to admit it's a hoax. This is genuine.
Definitely not a hoax, that's for sure. But everybody who's seen the video so far, I believe it's the best that's ever been seen, and I believe that myself. So it's definitely not a hoax, that's for sure.
Okay, Barry, well, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. We can't explain what it is. Perhaps someone at home can, but it certainly adds to the debate of UFOs.
Martin?
Well, both say thank you very much to Martin. Mr. Halliday, what do you actually think this is?
Well, I mean, at the moment it is an unidentified object. You know, we've taken a look at it, we thought of various possibilities that it might be, but at the moment we've ruled them all out. So, as far as we're concerned, it's unidentified at the moment.
Flying saucers?
Well, I mean, it's a big leap from saying something's unidentified to saying it's a flying saucer, obviously. I mean, some people might like to speculate about that, you know, but I think, you know, we need to take a good look at it. But it's intriguing because at the moment there's no obvious explanation, no obvious natural explanation for this particular object.
Actually, can we take a look at some archive footage of other sightings? We've got, this is Norfolk in 1993. And we've also got Mexico City in 1990 and Canada in 1991 coming up as well. Has any explanation been given for what these are?
Well, I mean, certainly the Mexican one, which is pretty well known, is that still the Mexican one, isn't it? Well, certainly the Mexican one that is pretty well known has been controversial. Obviously, there's been some suggestion that these are just particular objects that have been, you know, videoed from an odd angle and appear as things that can't be explained. I mean, certainly I've found over the years that quite a bit of video footage that has come up does have a natural explanation once people have examined it and managed to locate other witnesses.
Okay, so this was the mid-90s. Now, this was happening in the mid-90s, but it wasn't just happening it wasn't just happening around Falkirk. It was happening all over Scotland, but mostly in the specific area around Falkirk, and I think it was around Kirkcaldy down towards Glasgow, hence the Falkirk Triangle. It was a huge chunk of Scotland in a triangle shape where there was an obscene amount of sightings of UFOs.
Where are you in the dominance hierarchy?
But
Because one of the things...
calm down, Jordan. But on top of that, there was actually, wait for it, a lot of sightings around Aberdeen, which is actually where I'm from. Now, there were sightings around, it was in the newspapers as well. There was a lot of sightings around Cove, particularly around the Loch of Lauriston. And there was a lot of sightings, there were some in Torry, which is kind of near the city centre. But also in Aberdeenshire as well, in a town called Muckles, there was a man who lived there who saw UFOs a lot of the time. Like, he saw a lot of UFOs. So apparently this was like totally rampant all through the mid-90s. They were popping up all over Scotland, and it still happens today. Not as frequently as it did back in the mid-90s, but still enough to make Scotland the UFO hotspot of the world, which is fascinating. And I think it's something that us Scottish people should really embrace more. So I've done interviews with Ron Halliday here, who is one of our leading paranormal investigators and also author on the paranormal. And I also did a interview with Malcolm Robinson. Now, Malcolm Robinson was basically investigating this for the local council of Falkirk, and he was on many TV shows like Sky News and things like that, speaking about the UFOs and all the different people that have seen sightings. There wasn't only stories of sightings, there were stories of abductions as well. So some people have claimed to have been abducted, and they're quite unusual stories where there is some evidence that this might have taken place. And there was also one story where somebody went into the woods and claims to have seen goblin type creatures. So it's quite fascinating. And so in order to make this more digestible, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the different stories from Ron and Malcolm and trim them down into more bite-sized, digestible videos, because they've told me so many stories that we should just kind of trim them into one at a time and then upload them to the channel, and then you can let me know what you think of these UFO sightings. Were they real? Were these people really abducted or not? And so on. But it's super fascinating. It's crazy. UFO hotspot of the world right here. That's really cool. Yeah. Anyway, any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And once I'm up to date on my photo editing, I'm currently editing a bunch of photos. I've got a huge backlog, as my long COVID was just so bad this last 6 months that I'm kind of a little bit behind on my side hustles. But yeah, once I'm caught up, which shouldn't be too long, I'll get onto editing those videos, and then yeah, we'll hear all about the different UFO sightings in Scotland. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe. As you can see above me, there is a green bar up there where we're at 331. Now that is the subscriber count. Trying to get to 500, that is the goal, so I can then use the community tab. And then after that, the next goal will be 1,000. So if you want to hear more about the UFOs in Scotland, feel free to subscribe. And that's it. I'll be back soon with some more weird, spooky UFO kind of videos. I'll talk to you soon.